Henrik Stenson's impact just sounds different. Today, we're gonna talk about a key move in his takeaway that will get you delivering a harder blow to the golf ball at impact. Over the years, I've had a lot of close friends in the PGA Tour circle tell me that when Henrik Stenson hits a golf ball, it makes a different sound. It's a compression that you don't hear from most tour guys. Now, as I've looked at his swing throughout the years, I started to recognize that he makes a key move off the ball that we see from some of the fastest players in the world. So to give you context on who I was as a golfer growing up, I was the golfer on the range that would film my swing. I'd hit the different positions, I'd make it look pretty, and then I would go to the first tee and play and hit it everywhere. I'd film my swing and it looked completely different than what I observed on the range. My swing would unfold like a broken lawn chair. So I knew something was off. To me, it felt like there was a lack of glue holding the swing together. It felt very manual, it felt very manipulated, and I knew it wasn't sustainable in the long run. Ultimately, what I started to discover throughout my journey was there was a lack of energy that I was not getting into the swing early, and it comes through a particular sequence that we started to observe from some of the fastest players in the world. So we're gonna pop up Henrik's swing and look at this particular sequence. What I started to observe was the really good ball strikers are shifting their body to the right before the club. You could go down the list. Rory, DJ, John Rahm, all these guys are using this particular sequence. Now, Henrik does it a little bit more on the extreme side of the spectrum, but we can see that he's moving his body to the right before the club is moving back. And ultimately, he's using his feet to get that sequencing correct. So once I started to observe this, the light bulb in my head went off. This was the missing glue that I talked about earlier in my career. Now, the way I started to implement this was by realizing if I create a little bit of motion with my feet at address, and I get my body shifting to my trail side, I can now use that momentum to throw the club back. Okay, so now I'm throwing the club back with a little bit of momentum. It helps stabilize the plane, it helps stabilize the face alignments, and ultimately it helped create a much bigger stretch on my body, which is something that I rely on to get my sequencing correct. So obviously Henrik is the extreme side of the spectrum. He maximizes how much he makes this move. One of the ways I like to help players implement this into their swing is doing what I call a Henrik Stenson drill. So we're gonna hop on our downshift board, and to start, we're gonna just rock back and forth from left to right to get a feel of how our feet need to utilize the ground. Once we get set, we're gonna make a shift to the left. We're gonna leave the club there, and then we're gonna shift to the right, okay? Now, once we're on our right side, we look exactly like Henrik Stenson, okay? So from there, I'm gonna do a 2-second pause, 1, 2, and then I'm gonna turn to the top of my swing, okay? So do that again. We're gonna rock left, leave the club, rock right, 2-second pause, turn to the top. Now, you can do this in a sequencing drill as I just demonstrated, or you could also hit some balls doing this. The key is making sure that you have a slight pause. The pause is going to allow your brain to understand the new roadmap. If you don't pause, you're going to blend it all together and you're not going to make any changes. So if you enjoyed that drill and the breakdown of Henrik's move, leave a comment below of other swings and moves you want us to break down and help you implement into your golf swing.